Hi, Johnny Heller back with another For the Hell of It, and this one is hot off the presses. 2 days ago, March 12th, 2022. It's called The Positive Side of No. Now, you've seen a little word above my head. Here's the whole sign. My student and wonderful actress, Zura Johnson, made it for me. It's a quote that I frequently use. You can see it, and you can probably guess why I use it. I want you to slow down a little bit. Now, having said that, let's go to the For the Hell of It blog for this time, The Positive Side of No. When I was a boy, back in the early 1800s, I would hear no fairly often. The big no slinger in my early days was my mum, a lovely British lady who was pleasant enough until I asked her for stuff. I would say, "Can I go with my friend to the ancient farm next door and play on the old rusting equipment with all the spiky things that will very likely impale one of us?" And she would say, "No, of course not. What are you, bloody idiot?" That is entirely possible, I would think to myself, because it was very likely that I was a bloody idiot. Lord knows I grew to become one, so I suppose there must have been signs of it early on. Later in my life, in my futile attempts to get her to say yes, I would ask different questions. In my neighborhood, the village hired a bug guy during the summer, and he would drive his truck up and down the streets, and he had this noxious gas that would kill all the mosquitoes and the icky bugs. We kids, being for the most part idiots, would run behind the slow-moving truck, right in the middle of the gas cloud. Now, the guy who could run the furthest before stopping to puke or pass out on the side of the road would win. Of course, winning involved nothing more than passing out last or puking the least, but still, a win is a win is a win. Local parents frowned on the idea of kids doing this sort of thing, and most of them had no idea that anyone from their gene pool would ever be stupid enough to even think of such a moronic thing to do. There were no helicopter parents in those days. Kids weren't forced to pick their college majors and work for a scholarship starting on their 3rd birthdays. Most of us didn't even think about college until the summer after we graduated high school. This, of course, might have been a product of the bug guy, a guy we never saw and referred to reverently only as the Bugaboo Man. So I would stroll by my mum and I would muse aloud, "Hey, I think it's Bugaboo night. I'm worried that some of the neighborhood kids might chase after him. Want me to go outside and make sure they don't do that?" And my mum would say, "No, of course not. Do I look like a bloody idiot?" Eventually, I learned to stop asking my mum questions. Happily for the universe, every other female in my life took over her job and told me no many, many times. Want to go to the movies with me? No. Want to go to the school dance with me? No. Wanna? No. Then I went off to college in an effort to hear no from people I hadn't yet met. For a short window of time, I had a chance to be almost anything I wanted to be. This will shock you, but I had a 4.0 grade average in college my first 3 years. I passed the LSATs with flying colors and was clearly heading for a successful career as a douchebag lawyer in some big firm. But alas, I wanted to be an actor. Apparently, I was secretly in love with the word no, because no one hears that more than an actor. No one. The thing is, not too many actors ever say it. We try so hard to get a job, we never want to say no to one. And sometimes we need to. We need to learn the power of no. Whether you audition for a gig or you get offered one, it's up to you to see if the gig fits in your schedule. It's up to you to determine if the money is good enough, if the post will be done by the publisher, or if you have to do it, if the genre is one you want to work in. There are a lot of things to consider after you get over the fact that someone wants you. It's wonderful that someone other than your mom recognizes your talent, but not every job is a good call. Let's say you get offered a 700-page sci-fi romance erotica novel about space aliens coming to Earth to mate with MacBook Pros, and you are uncomfortable with non-consensual computer sex specifically and alien butt probes in general. You have to say no. Let's say some slimeball AI company wants you to read a long book just so they can use your voice to make 3,000 AI books, none of which you will be compensated for. They offer a decent rate for one book, but nothing for stealing your voice in perpetuity. You must say no, and if possible, pop them in the nards for even asking. And what if you're just too booked up and you know you can't get the book done by the due date? You must say no. Here's a note on that. When you are offered a book, make sure you ask about the due date. And if you are too busy to make the date, ask if there's any leeway in their schedule. If there is, your no may become a yes. But, and this is important, never be late if you can possibly help it. Never say yes when you know it should be a no. It's okay to say no. Be polite about it. Thank them for the offer, but tell them why you can't do it. If you're too busy, they will think that other publishers are working with you, so you must be good, and they will come back. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to find a job if you already have a job, but when you don't have a job, there seem to be no jobs at all? This is called life, and it's horribly unfair and bizarre, but in my experience, it's better than the alternative. If you have to say no because of your busy schedule, give the publisher some open dates that can work for them. Tell them, I can't get this done by your date, but I am open for projects in about a month if you have anything. They won't get mad at you, I promise. Publishers have a lot of books, and if you can't do one, they will give it to another actor, but they won't cross you off their list. They will appreciate that you didn't BS them. They will appreciate that you didn't say yes and then screw them over by not getting it done because you should have said no. Saying yes when it's a no will earn you enmity and condemnation. And while those are lovely words to say aloud, they aren't good nouns to own. If you are uncomfortable with the subject of a book, there's a no. But tell them you are declining because of your discomfort so they don't offer you the same stuff later. Tell them that you are uncomfortable with books titled My Horny Amish Rumspringer, so they don't offer you that sort of thing. If you refuse to narrate books about the sexual exploits of professional shuffleboard players or books about photosynthesis, let them know, and be honest and professional enough to say no to books you will not narrate. You can also say no if the rate is not right for you. Easy for me to say. Too often I've heard actors say, I'm doing it for a low rate because I'm new and I need the experience. Nonsense. There's a SAG-AFTRA minimum, and unless it's a royalty share, that's your minimum rate. An actor does not get paid one rate for his first matinee show and then a higher rate for the same show later that night because he's suddenly experienced. Sure, there are different rates for different actors, but you must say no to any offer that isn't at least the minimum. You know what the minimum means, right? It's a decent rate, but it's the lowest they can offer you. If you think you are worth less than the least someone can give you, then you are worth less than the least someone can give you. And how sad is that? If you want $250 per finished hour, you have to say no to an offer of $75 per finished hour and an old fun-size Milky Way bar from last Halloween. Also, what's fun about those little tiny candy bars anyway? I think we should be saying no to them too. I mean, as long as we're saying it anyway. So, what have we learned? We learned that saying no doesn't make you a bad little actor. It makes you a professional with enough dedication to the craft and to the business to turn down work that you can't or won't do for professional reasons. And that's how you turn no from a negative to a positive and build a reputation as a savvy and professional actor who understands the needs of publishers. Remember, you don't want to be a problem for any client. You want to be their problem solver. Saying yes when you should have said no will only hurt your bottom line, because it will definitely bite you in the ass. So the takeaway is, don't get bitten in the ass. Unless you like that sort of thing. And for me, that would be a no.